We have, I think, one of the best signs yet that these midterms are probably gonna go pretty well for the Democrats, maybe even like kind of historically well. So here's a poll showing the biggest generic ballot lead the Democrats have had since 2017, before there was even an AOC. And so you can see the generic ballot under Obama on the left, and then Trump, and then Biden. And it wasn't until Biden that the Republicans actually caught up to the Democrats. But now, after less than 1 year of the Trump second term, the American people have swung further away from him than they were under Obama, like what we think of as like the good old days. And this chart right here, put it up one more time. Like, it is not often that you have a chart that in chart form effectively tells the president, quiet, piggy. But this one I think is. It's saying we don't like you and we don't want you to have any power anymore. And so if this holds, that's gonna be huge. It is like independents right now, in addition, choosing Democrats by a 33-point margin on the generic ballot. So overall, it's good news. With independents, it's good news. And this is pretty huge, but let's try to map this out over how the generic ballot advantage has worked out in terms of the midterm elections, how many seats you actually win. So if we go back to the fall of 2022, the last midterms, Biden was in the White House. Democrats had a lead in the generic ballot of 0 to 4 points. They ended up losing 9 House seats. It was a very narrow margin, could go either way or whatever. In 2018, during Trump's first term, Democrats had a 6 to 12 point advantage. They won 40 seats then. In 2014, when Barack Obama was president, Republicans had a 5-point advantage and ended up winning 13 seats. And so it's just, I think it's very reasonable to expect that if anything like this lead, which right now is a 14-point advantage, then they're definitely gonna take control of the House and maybe even a good bit more than that. Even not even worrying about how the gerrymandering battle might now seem to be advantaging the Democrats rather than the Republicans. And so you're probably wondering, why this huge swing? Why is it that people have swung towards wanting the Democrats in control of the House? Well, Trump is at 39% approval. That is not good. That's the lowest of his second term. In the Marist poll, he continues to go down in that. He is at 24% with independents. That is, I've never seen that before. Independents want nothing to do with Donald Trump. And almost half of those surveyed, 48% said they strongly disapprove of the job the president is doing. That's the highest of his term, the highest since just after January 6, 2021. I don't know why they're singling that date out. What's like an important movie come out then? I don't know. But anyway, so it isn't just that people don't approve of his job. They strongly disapprove of it. And you can insert for yourself whatever reason. There's lots of good explanations. His terrible performance on the economy, the chaos internationally, the mass deportation insanity, the invading cities, the corrupt and out of control pardons, the aura of lawlessness and corruption and chaos that we've all been experiencing. And I think the vast majority of the American public just wants to be done with. And they think perhaps that at least giving the House, maybe the Senate back to the Democrats means a little bit less of that chaos on a day-to-day basis. Sounds like good news to me, Sharon, but what do you think?
Sounds like great news. And maybe this is the glasses half empty in me. Just don't mess it up. All you have to do is listen. Don't get full of yourself and don't mess it up. Don't try to undermine candidates and people like our friend in New York, who's now the incoming mayor of New York. Listen, the people got this done. Democrats, frankly, largely screwed it up, okay? But not completely screwed it up. So all they have to do now is continue to listen and don't mess up this opportunity. But yes, it's good news.
Yeah, you brought me back down to reality. They are trying to limit the inspiration people can draw from Mamdani as much as possible. They're trying to marginalize the most dynamic members of their caucus. They really tried to ruin people's faith in them in Congress with the shutdown debacle. Now things have moved with Epstein in a direction that looks a little bit better for them, but there is still time for them to mess it up. I suppose if people can turn towards the Democrats this much in a year, they can turn away from them this much in a year. But still, at this point, that's the biggest gap that we've seen going back more than a decade. And so at the very least, it will be harder than usual for the Democrats to really biff this thing. But we'll see.